G'day to anyone watching. Carrying on from where I left off the other night, I've decided to go back to a 1.1 and work from that because that was a good baseline. Get out and do a couple more laps on that and make a few more adjustments. I have done some laps in the intervening time. I've made some setup adjustments, but I'm going to go back to 1.1, see if the adjustments to the line I made, how much they help and how the car feels, and then go back to the adjustments. If you happened to watch the first version, or even if you didn't, the adjustments to the car baseline setup for the data set I made was adjusted tyre pressures to try and get an even 25 or thereabouts PSI on all four wheels. Adjusted the aero to the balance I like, so I've gone 9 on the front, 5 on the rear, thinking that that's a good level for Sepang, but it's got the four notches difference between the front and the back. What else did I do? We didn't touch the camber in one. I think it was pretty much tyres and aero. Oh, and I adjusted the brakes, so I think I adjusted my bias forward slightly because it was trying to step out on me on some of the braking zones in the back half of the track where you're kind of braking around a curve, and adjusted the pressure to try and avoid some of the lockups. So I was working on the idea of softening the rear suspension or stiffening the front suspension to avoid the car wanting to step like it did on the exit of that tight left-hander. But I decided to flag that and go with other adjustments first because it's such a major effect on the handling, both good and bad. As everyone said to me when I was trying to figure out how to do setups and the approach to take, and almost every video from many of the big sim racing YouTubers when it comes to setups, it's always a trade-off. If you gain something in the car in one place, you're going to lose it in another. So by doing the softening on the rear suspension, I gained the stability in the back that I wanted, but the car was more likely to understeer at various stages of the corner. pits for some adjustments. Laps down the drain, back to the pits anyway. Right, so I am going to work on cambers. Going to see how the car does with a bit more front camber. See if it gives me some more grip through the faster corners as the weight's moved over to the car, over to the side of the car. I do have an app called Camber Extravaganza that I do use for figuring out cambers when I'm at a complete loss. It's can be quite helpful. It's good to see how much rubber you're putting down versus the position of your wheel and so on. Its goal is essentially to put down the maximum amount of rubber as the car rolls over onto the tyres, and gives you it as a reading out and a colour chart. So in blue you've got the car is very negative camber compared to the road, heading through to green where you're getting the most contact patch, and then through to red when you're rolling over to the outside of the tyre. But as I've found plenty of times in the past with camber, sometimes it's not necessarily about the contact patch, it's about the relation between the contact patch and the front and the back as to how the car reacts in the corner. Getting optimal contact on the front and back is not always the best solution for how you want the car to behave. Feel through corners, so basically this entire section of the track, having slightly more camber on the front is definitely helping the car. I like 3.3 at the moment. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to add a notch to the back just to see if it helps the arse one to bite in a bit more when you're exiting the fast corners. It won't help on slower corner exits where your car's weight's not really shifted all the way over. So it won't really help me with the exit turn 2 there. Hopefully on corners like the one coming up, turn 4, a bit further around the track. Okay, so I wanted to step a little bit then, but the car did want to rotate through the corner a lot better than it had without that little camber adjustment. Same on that corner. I know I had a slightly different line of speed through there, but you could feel as the car bit in and I started getting on the throttle and it started to push the back of the car around. Bad trip into the AstroTurf. Clear back to pits. As much as it seems a little bit more unstable, I like the way the car's getting through the corner exit with this little bit more camber on the back, so might just be a little bit more adjustment. I'm going to leave it there for now. Wouldn't necessarily, depending on how I feel about the car, quite often I'd probably roll that setup change back. But I do like the way it's exiting some corners, so I want to see if I can work with it. I still would like to get more mid-corner grip out of this though. For now I think I'm going to change the balance. I'm going for a 5-degree difference between the front and the back instead of the 4 that I've been running. See if that helps me out at all. May mean that I end up having to be a lot more ginger on the throttle on corner exits, but if I can take a lot more speed through the corner in the first place, then it might be a good sacrifice. Not sacrifice, compromise. We can compromise, provided I can hold on to the car during the race and not get too excited and overdrive it. suppose just a note for about when I really start paying attention to the car is that on the outlap, because you've come out of the pits with the tyre blankets on and all your tyres are at the optimal pressure and temperature. Well, they're at the optimal temperature anyway, they're not necessarily at the optimal pressure, but outlap is not a good lap unless something is diabolically wrong to judge what you've done with your car. You've got to wait till you get around for a flying lap to let the tyres settle in. Depending on the car, depending on the tyres, it might be 2 laps, but the TARDIS tyre pressures and temps seem to settle pretty quickly, especially around here because they cool off on the long straights. So 1 lap's usually enough. See, after that big spin and the complete mess I made of the recovery, that my left-hand side tyres are overpressured and the temps don't know what they're doing because the core and the carcass have all overheated with the sliding and the spinning. Taking it easy, see if they cool off by the end of the straight. Get them back down to operating temperature and pressure. If anyone happens to be watching live, which often I doubt anyone is, but if you do, I did manage to finally sort out combining Twitch and YouTube chat so I can see it while I'm driving now. See the pressures have equalised, so we'll go for another run. Believe it or not, I do like the aero change. It's just the telling thing will be doing laps and seeing whether the handling improvement is worth the stability loss, because it is a little bit more sketchy. It's most likely down to my driving style and poor adjustment to the new aero, but either way. Big slide out there, that was not intentional. Got to stay away from the AstroTurf, it's not doing me any favours. engine on my tyres has already gone yellow. Now I'm doing the setup on medium tyres, but I won't be running it. Oh shit, I think the server's just rebooted. Hey, look at that, my server's rebooted, that's always fun. If anyone not an AusNZ member, if you didn't know, the AusNZ server, fucking Windows updates. Good old Windows. Yeah, so the AusNZ server is sitting on a piece of hardware that was some leftover bits I had lying around, and a motherboard CPU RAM combo that Carbo sent over from Australia that was surplus to requirements. Just a little 2-core, I think. Core 2 Duo, something like that. And like 4 gig of RAM and not much else in it. Spinning disk hard drive. More than enough for a AusNZ server. We usually run 3 active servers plus the S-Tracker app. One of those servers runs with the Track Cycle app. Server doesn't skip a beat. We shut down all the other servers. We shut down all server instances except for one for Sunday night, just to ensure that we get the maximum connection available for the league race on Sunday, but otherwise it's good. Well, the server's updating, so I'm going to stop watching that. I've still got the session functioning with the settings anyway. I'm going to leave the aero setting. Still want a bit more mid-corner, so I'm going to go to the 4-toe, see how that goes. The reason that I do all my practice and setup on the servers is the server dictates the air and the track temp, so it's only a couple of degrees variation, but it's different from the optimal temperatures that you get if you go to single player. And because there's variation, you might get a hot track hotter track on one session followed by a cooler track on the next, and you want your setup to work in both. And also wind direction, so I haven't got the real-time app that shows that information on screen, but down this straight we've got a tailwind of 13 kilometers. We're at 30 degree track temp and 21 degree air temp. And once the server comes back and I reboot it, might find that we'll go to a 32 degree track temp, which of course will affect how the tyres work on the road, and the wind direction might spin 180 and get a bit stronger or get a bit weaker, and that'll affect how the car behaves in certain corners with the aero. So it's good to build your setup with a little bit of variation involved, because then you know what sort of behaviour to expect. better line through that corner that time, stayed away from the AstroTurf. Turned in a bit too early for that one and just about at mid-corner. Server back up and running. So don't run away. I just need a second to reboot the server. To do is sit down at some point with our server and set it up so that if Windows does decide to kill it midweek to do an update, when it comes back it launches all these sessions again. Unfortunately it's not quite as simple as just chucking it into the startup menu, because the S-Tracker app has to be launched after the server's launched, so I'm sure there's a way to do it. I just haven't sat down to look into it or ask one of the other boys how to do it properly. Yeah, rejoin the server. thing I'm going to do quickly is drop my top gear a notch because we're not getting close to top speed anyway. Still relatively happy with the 904, but that might get bumped. It's kind of going to depend on the times that I can run. I think for now I'm happy with the alignment. It's just going to come down to drive it a bit more and see where my stability sits. I see this section of the track is 29 degrees C, but the wind is still coming from roughly the same direction. Doing that right-hander in third. Big part of me thinks that it's actually going to be better to stay in fourth. I just haven't figured out where to do the braking and whatnot for fourth gear, because chopping down to third is doing a bit of my slowing down as well. A little bit too late into that corner that time. Hey nerds, yeah I am using a steering wheel, mate. I'll use the T300 RS. I have it in the Thrustmaster setting set to 1080, and then for the TARDIS I've actually, on the wheel itself, using the mode button and the D-pad, turned it down to 900, so I get a little bit more steering input and gain than I put into the wheel, because I've got the fast agile hands of some other people. I wish I could say I had a nice set of pedals underneath them, but it's just the stock T300 pedals, brake and accelerator. Just, was it linear pots with potentiometers? For a set of Corsa, actually any racing game, I think, yeah, probably a suicide to use a keyboard. A cheaper wheel, yes. The one I was using before I switched to the T300, which I actually loved, was the Driving Force GT from Logitech. It's I'm pretty sure you can't buy them new anymore, because kind of the Driving Force GT and the G27/25 was all sort of rolled into one with the 920. But the Driving Force GT, if you can find one in good condition second hand, is a brilliant wheel. The only reason I stopped is I started getting a dodgy brake pedal that was holding on by about 10%. So instead of, I probably could have gone and found a potentiometer or bought another set of pedals second hand, or finally upgraded to a set of pedals, but I decided just to do the whole package upgrade anyway. Hey Kayan, no, I don't have the THH shifter. It's literally just the T300 RS package out of the box. I think now when you buy the package you get just the T3 PA pedals, so you get the clutch, but I think you still have to buy the shifter separate. And the TH8A shifter is pretty damn expensive in New Zealand. I think it's pretty damn expensive everywhere, to be honest, but it's significantly more money than I'm willing to pay for a shifter in New Zealand. I think if I was going to look at buying an H-pattern shifter, I'd potentially look at the Logitech one, just because I'm pretty sure, I'm fairly certain that it's just a USB device now with the 920, rather than the old G27 shifter that you used to have to plug into the wheelbase. But either way, I don't have a clutch pedal, so it'd be a pointless exercise at the moment. By the TH8A, £80. Actually, I think that's probably about right. It's was it? It's about 3 to 1 on the, well, it used to be 3 to 1 on the New Zealand dollar. So $3 New Zealand for 1 GBP. I think over here at the moment it's sitting about 350 NZ dollars. don't even think I've heard of Wheel Stand Pro. They just do a, is it just a stand to put in front of the desk and you BYO seat, is it? See if it's suicide to drop the coast to 50%. I haven't. One of the long-time OzNZ members, OzNZ started out playing Project Cars, and Alicio, one of our members, ran controller in Project Cars and was blindingly quick. He just he suffered a lot when it came to tyre wear when we were doing longer races. But when we switched over to Assetto Corsa, he tried doing some races, and I don't know if it's just a difference in the handling model, or part of me thinks that he struggled most because on the PC at least, Assetto Corsa's control scheme doesn't really lend itself to a controller. Yeah, mate. So the OzNZ servers are always public during the week. No passwords. As long as you've got the content. So this is obviously the TARDIS, which I'm pretty sure is base content, and then the A Corsa Underground Bahrain track. It's Sunday night when we do our official racing. It's password locked. You have to be a member to get in on the league race. But the rest of the time, it's open for anyone. Just search OzNZ, OZNZ, in the search bar under servers. Oh, just too busy looking at chat. Nearly took out Machete. That's nothing wrong with not having a PC, mate. Did most of my gaming on a console. But I actually, when I first got my Driving Force GT, the reason I got the GT and not something else was to have it work on PlayStation 3 so I could play Gran Turismo 5, I think it was, the first one that came out on PS3. I had a blast with it on Gran Turismo, and then Project Cars came out on PC, and I've always had a gaming PC, so I sort of thought, why not? Thank you very much, USA Cat Welder. I sincerely hope by Cat Welder that you mean diggers and heavy machinery and not felines. Oh, too wide on that tree and sucked out into the rear. Yep, yes it is. We found, especially for the league races, that if you turn damage off, people tend to not drive as carefully because there's little consequence for a poor passing manoeuvre or a bad decision. It does mean that occasionally you can either end your own race by putting it on the wall, or you can end someone else's race by taking them out accidentally. Braking too early. And I invalidated what was going to be my quickest lap. If anyone was watching for the setup, I think I'm quite happy with this one now. Go back to the pits once I run out of tyres and go over what setup changes were made right from the start. I appreciate that, mate, I really do. I think once it comes to race night, and especially if you want to compare me to guys like probably Empty Box and Jimmy and Gamer Muscle, I think I'm fairly average. But the only thing I take into race night in my head is don't ruin someone else's race. I'd rather wreck myself than wreck someone else. Age doesn't matter at all, mate. It's one of our fastest members is currently practicing iRacing by the looks of it, according to our Discord server. But he started with this well, right near the start. I think Absol joined, and I think he was 13 at the time, 14 maybe. And he's bloody quick, and it's not just quick like I'm doing it right now, but I'm driving, well, theoretically I'm driving the optimal line every lap. He's quick in traffic. He's a bloody good driver. What were you driving to do a 720 around the ring? think Absol got very lucky from the perspective of a sim racer. His dad bought a full sim rig wheel PC setup and then stopped using it, so he's been playing it for years before he joined us. Oh no, buggered that up. I think just like most kids that have a... Oh, that thing is a monster, the P1. I think anyone who's brought up with whatever their favourite game is. And hell, I used to play shooters many years ago, but unfortunately people that started playing them a lot younger than I did, who have grown up playing them, kick my ass without even thinking about it. Right. Not sure if this... No, I haven't done the coast change, so this is going to be my work in progress full setup. If you are watching setups, this is the changes that we made. We dropped our 6 gear from 26 to 20 by 24 ratio to 27 by 26 ratio. Drops 10 k's off the top speed, but we're not getting close to that anyway. Pressures were adjusted from 17 all around to 17, 18, 16, 15, and that was just to get, as you can see on the tyre pressures for each corner. Once they settle into their temperatures, that will be 25 psi all around for the most part. With fuel we haven't touched. Aero we've gone 9 and 4, which is a deviation from what I normally do. I normally do a 4-degree difference between the front and back on the TARDIS, but I've gone for a 5-degree difference between the front and back this time. Alignment, we actually put more camber on the front. It's not often I put more camber on the front of these cars. Okay, and have fun, buddy. We reduced the tow, well, we reduced the setting on our tow, but that took us from having, see here, a near zero, 0.02 degrees on the front right, down to 0.05. All that did was just unsharpen, don't know the correct word, but they've turned in slightly less sharp, but we gained a little bit more grip through the mid corner, especially in the faster corners. Toe on the back we didn't touch, and we just tickled, I think, 1 notch onto the rear camber. We went from minus 2.2 to minus 2.3, but as you can see that's a realistic 2.55 camber on the back when it takes into account the suspension and other settings. Dampers haven't touched. I did start to fuck with them with the first run I did after I got the baseline on Work in Progress 1 setup, but they're currently stock, and this will probably be where I come to look for a little bit of stability. Like if we soften the bumps up, I'll probably gain a little bit more stability on the corner exit, but I'll learn, what does it say here? Lower values make the car more predictable but slower in reaction, so I'll probably get a little bit less turn and maybe a little bit less precision, but it'll get a little bit more stable. If I was to bump the front up, we don't have an explanation for the single shock on the front, unfortunately. But yeah, we can adjust dampers just a tweak at certain parts of the corner. For me it's corner exit where the car's getting loose. I don't want to put my aero back up because I like the balance. Drive train, we dropped our diff coast to 50 to let the car rotate a bit more, and it's started to get a little bit slidey, so that'll be the first thing I bump back. It starts at 90. Unfortunately I don't think there's any... Oh, you can cheat it. There you go. So you can kind of sometimes cheat the settings on these cars. No mate, I am god awful at drifting. So yeah, it might be if I don't work with, don't like 50, rather than put it back to 90, I'll do this cheat where instead of using the plus or minus, I'll click on the bar and force it to 80 and see if just knocking 10% off gives me a slightly better run. Brake bias, I think default's 53. I'll put it 1 notch forward for the, especially the second last corner where you're braking through a right hand curve into a tight right hander, and I'll lower the brake power. That may still go down a little bit more before race day, but I'm okay with it at 95. Suspension we haven't touched. The suspension settings are pretty damn good on the TARDIS stock. May tweak the front roll bar, but it'll only be by 1 or 2 notches just to try and gain a little bit more
mid-corner. The problem is if you let it roll too much, your initial part of the corner, I find anyway, when I soften the front roll bar in the initial turn-in, it takes longer to get there because you're letting the car wants to roll, and whilst the car's shifting this weight, it's not really turning, so it won't really bite until it gets over onto the tyres. But let's just play with it as it comes. Don't touch the travel range. I don't think I've ever touched the travel range, and I haven't set pit stop strategies yet. Those are the setup changes that I've made so far. If you happen to come onto the AusNZ server, I'll drag this across for people that have never seen it before. This is S-Tracker. This is what we use on the AusNZ server that monitors everything. If you click on this icon, oh, I have to drag that window over as well. This is actually all the server data. So on here, we can see, if we go to remote stats, this is actually showing lap times that have been done by everyone who's joined the server. So there's a mix of AusNZ members and non-AusNZ members in here. And you can see it even breaks down to my best lap's 2:03.936, which is 8/10 slower than Travelmere in first. And you can see by sector where you're losing the time. So my big loss is in sector 2. See how many valid laps that have been done. But the main thing that we use this one for is the setups. So the setups, if anyone is after the setup that I've got, if I publish it, if you have pTracker or if you install pTracker, this is the main app window. Click on the connect icon. It'll be green if you've connected to S-Tracker on the server, so this is pTracker, sorry, and the server side is S-Tracker. Click on that, see the pTracker stats page, setups and players. If nothing shows up here, you may have to just move away and then come back, but you should in the middle see server setup deposit, work in progress 4 to the everyone group by myself. So that's available to anyone that wants it. So I'll get that back off the screen again because it's very big and in the way. Back to pits. Next step, tyres and fuel rate going up. So we're running 150% tyre wear, 150% fuel rate on this server. Because that's for a Sunday night race. So basically it forces a fuel stop and makes the guys think about their tyre choices a bit more. So I pretty much would guarantee that you'll be running the hard tyre for at least part of the race. It kind of depends. Last week at Bahrain, oh wait, maybe I've said that wrong earlier with the server. I think I might have said the Bahrain track was ACU Sepang. Just occurred to me. So it's A Course Underground's Sepang mod. Anywho. Yeah, so for at least part of the race we'll run slick hards. Last week I ran slick hards with the strategy of doing a tyre change mid-race to a fresh set of slick hards, but we ended up having a caution for 2 laps at the start, which saved enough fuel that I was able to go a lap further, and then it was viable to run mediums. So I had a strategy, my pit stop strategy set up for, oh excuse me, a set of medium tyres with my fuel. I always do my initial setup on the medium tyres, but now I'm going to go out on the hards. I just leave the pressures where they are because the balance will be right. It'll just be seeing on our tyre app down here how off the pressures are once they've settled in and where they need to be set to.
see on the tyre app, because the hard tyres, they always tend to cool off faster. Pressures are sitting down about 24 with only the front left up at 25 psi at the moment. You can also see the front right is ice cold and the front left's already starting to go cold. When we started playing Project Cars, you would always adjust your tyre pressures in your setup to try and get the tyres to sit at the optimal temperature, because there was, if you get your tyre sitting in the green range on the tyre app, that tended to be where they had the most grip. Whereas in a set of Corsa you can't always, especially if running the hard compound tyres, you can't actually always hit those temperature targets. What a set of Corsa also has is an optimal pressure, so if you can't reach the temperature targets, because sometimes you just can't adjust the tyres that much, or you don't want to, because of course like having a hard tyre will give you a very sharp turn if you've got your front tyres pumped right up, but you'll tend to lose your mid-corner grip because there's no flex in the tyre, no roll in the tyre. So they have optimal pressures. The optimal pressures for all the tyre compounds for the TARDIS is 25 psi. 24 is a little bit too cool. 23, as you can see, or if you can see the number on the screen, is quite small on my monitor. 23 is too cold. It's got a almost blue colour. It's not nice vibrant green. 24 is still green, but it's also 25 is a bit more vibrant in colour, and that's where your optimal pressure is. Once you go to 26, it starts to go a bit of a dirty orange colour. What I'm seeing at the moment, for most corners, the balance on the pressures is right, it's just a PSI too low. So, one more lap. But I'll be back into pits to pump up one more PSI and see how we go. It might be if the tyres are staying mostly at 23, like the 23 at the moment, but we're also in a part of the track where the tyres tend to cool off. At the front left. See, then they also suddenly jumped to 24 under heavy brakes. So what we actually might do is pump 2 psi into everything except the front left, which will just get 1 psi. See how we go in corners like this where the tyre pressure will probably jump to 26 and see if that's going to... Well, the front might even jump to 27, looking at the front left at the moment. But if the car's still stable with the tyres just jumping up to that higher pressure, for only one corner, then it might be able to be dealt with for the rest of the track. Alright, so pull over to the side. So I'm out of Machete's way. There he goes. Alright, so for the hards, might as well drop 1. No, pump it up 1. Up 2. Cool. You can
see on the optimal temperature, they're way over pressure. Front right's 3 degrees over pressure. It's a dark orange colour. So the outlap will be a little bit hairy until they cool off, but hard tyres cool off fairly quickly, so it'll probably only be a few corners and they'll get down to operating pressure. Decided with the way it's feeling on the hard tyres that I don't want that. No, I'm running the 90% coast. Bugger. Oh. I might have to look at something else because the car's a little bit unstable at the turn-in. It's just due to having the harder compound tyre on. I shall do this quick race with Machete, see how I go on 5 laps on the hard tyre. Save my setup with the hard tyre settings as well, and probably call it a night for the stream. Very careful of that line through 1 and 2 on Sunday night if someone decides to try and go around the outside in turn 1. It's either someone will stick the nose up inside, not realising I'm coming back for the apex, or someone will get up alongside knowing that I'm going to try and come back for the apex and get the line on me. On that corner and got into the AstroTurf.
So yeah, still getting the arse coming around a wee bit now that I've gone to the hard tyres. So the setup was pretty damn stable on mediums, but with a little bit of grip loss that you get moving to the harder compound, I've gone back into the realm of unstable. And these tyres are fresh, so they'll be god awful once they've got a 10 or 11 laps under their belt. So next time I'm on, I'll be looking at making adjustments just to get stability back in, with hopefully without ruining the handling. So I like the handling. Oh, wow. There you go. There's a byproduct of it all. So it might just mean that I need to go a notch further forward on the brake bias when I'm on the hard tyre, because there's not enough grip in them. So I've got to stop the rears locking up. And for the corner exit, I'm not sure, I might have to re-examine the camber that I put on the back. I might need to go another notch up to match what I did on the front. Also more negative camber. Or I might have to go back to my aero balance if I don't have enough in the back, but my problem's on corner exit of the mid-pace corners, so I don't know how much effect the aero's having on the car at that point anyway. I've probably got more luck at trying to find some mechanical grip than I do with aerodynamic grip. Wondering how it is I know how the car feels when I describe how the car feels. One thing I find Assetto Corsa is very, very good at doing is the force feedback. Now it's far from realistic, but funnily enough, I'm not sitting in a real car, so what it does well is it translates information that you would normally get through other sensors. Normally you'd be able to feel the weight of the car moving. You can feel when the car, or a real car, starts to step out. You feel that through your arse. You feel when you're locking wheels up, because or when you're hitting bumps and curbs through your arse as much as you feel it through your hands. But Kunos, I believe, has done a spectacular job of translating that information to force feedback through the wheel, because that's the only way I can get the information. The reason I brought all that up was last time I came through this corner, I was going a little bit more gingerly after the spin the lap before, knowing that the asses weren't going to want to step out on me. But I could feel as I was turning in, even as I was being a little bit more gentle, the moment where the ass wanted to start to go on me, I was able to adjust and stop it spinning around without really affecting the line. What am I doing? 204s, 205s. Every single time I come through that last right hand, was it turn 4, I think it is, technically, yeah. The ass the car's wanting to go every single time I come through on hard tyres, so I'm definitely going to have to examine something to stop it wanting to step out on me. I prefer to find it mechanically because I want to keep my aero as low as I possibly can, so that even though I'll probably be going fast through corners, I don't want to sacrifice all the straight line. There's no point going fast through a corner if you're behind somebody and then they run away from you on the straights. Okay, and have fun, buddy. That's going to be it for now. If you have been watching, hopefully it was helpful. It's probably way too long-winded. If you are watching this after the fact, you got to the end, you would have come across everything you need by now. Yeah, if you were watching, I appreciate it, guys, and cheers to Kane for having a chat, and who else had a chat? Nerds Belly. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you later.